Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting all sentimental and in my feels right now. The reason we're making this video is because the Vancouver Canucks are at the bottom of the NHL. They are last in the entire league as the San Jose Sharks ended up getting their first win of the season last night. The Canucks have the lowest rating in the NHL when it comes to points, when it comes to points percentage, and the way things are right now, they are currently in the best position available to draft first overall projected pick in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft, Connor Bedard. And so, what this video is doing is asking the question, what the heck is going to happen if that is the case? Now, the reason I'm getting in my feels is because 5 years ago, I made a very similar video to this type of video. Take a look at this. This was uploaded back in December of 2017. Vancouver Canucks, what if the Canucks drafted Rasmus Dahlin? And you could see the thumbnail, it kind of sucks. You could hear my voice. It's kind of not as enthusiastic. I don't really have the same sort of tone and enunciation on certain words and pacing in my sentences. It's not really the most polished Lego Rocks 99 video, but this video was a fun one to make, and it was one of my more successful videos back in the time span of 2017, 2018. Pretty much that video was saying, hey, we know the Canucks are going to get a good draft pick. We know they're going to draft somewhere, let's say in the top 5. If they draft, let's say, first overall, what the heck is going to happen if they get Rasmus Dahlin? And because the Canucks today, in 2022, 5 years later, are so piss poor in the standings, I feel it's more than appropriate to legitimately ask the question, what the heck is going to happen if the Vancouver Canucks crap the bed, if they luck themselves into getting the first overall pick, and if they select Connor Bedard. Before we get into that though, a word from the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by Manscaped.com, the premium global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. Manscaped sent me their Perfect Package 4.0, which is an all-in-one men's grooming kit for body hair removal from head to toe. Included is the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It's waterproof and cordless and can be used on hair anywhere on the body. It also has ceramic blades, skin-safe technology, a 7,000 RPM motor, plus a wireless charging dock and a travel lock feature. The Perfect Package kit also includes the Crop Preserver liquid deodorant and the Crop Reviver toner spray. Believe me on this one, these change the game. You never know you needed these until you try them out. And for a limited time, when you get the Perfect Package 4.0, you get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping and those 2 free gifts when you use my promo code LR99 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts with code LR99 at Manscaped.com. Now, the first thing I wanted to highlight when it comes to this entire conversation, just in case you're not aware, hey, the Canucks are suffering right now. What is the point of all of this? It's so bad. I'll tell you what the point is. High draft picks. The 2023 NHL Entry Draft is filled with a boatload of talent at the top of the selection that you could arguably say is so much better than the prior year's worth of drafts. Slafkovsky, Cooley, and Nemec, nah, these guys aren't in the same stratosphere as Connor Bedard, Matvei, Michkov, Adam Fantilli, the top 3 projected picks in this year's NHL Draft. Bedard especially is touted towards being the next generational hockey player. You talk about how there's one generational guy per generation, let's say every 10 years. In 2005 it was Crosby, in 2015 it was McDavid. Connor Bedard is supposed to be the next one in 2023. Going over his point production in the WHL right now, so at the time I'm recording this audio, he's on pace for 119 points in 68 games played, and he is only 17 years old. He's a 5'10", 185 right-handed center from North Van. The Vancouver Canucks are his favorite team. He had said to the TSN guys earlier, I think it was 2 seasons ago or last year, that his favorite Canuck at the time was Tyler Mott. And when it comes to the NHL season predictions, he was asked at the beginning of the year who's going to win the cup, and he said Vancouver. I'm sorry, Connor, you might have just cursed the Canucks because it doesn't look like they're going to be able to win the Stanley Cup. It looks more so like they're going to be able to draft you, which seems like a pretty good trade-off if you ask me. So, what if the Canucks actually draft Bedard? Well, first and foremost, we have to acknowledge that if they do this, it would mean that the curse on the organization had officially been broken. Because the Vancouver Canucks, they've never had the first overall pick and they've never used it. Actually, that's kind of a lie. They had the first overall pick for a brief period of time back in 1999 when they were trading and moving around in the top of the draft, but they traded that first overall pick away in order to select Henrik and Daniel Sedin. They've had second and third overall a few times, but never first to the point where they actually used it. If they drafted Connor Bedard, it would mean that the Canucks would have gotten their very first franchise first overall pick, which is a pretty significant note. Secondly, what a Connor Bedard-like player does for this organization is it gives flexibility. You have yourselves already 3 centers that you could say are top 6 caliber centers: Miller, Horvat, and Pettersson. If Connor Bedard is drafted by Vancouver, he's making the team next year. No questions about it. You talk about a guy who's probably going to be good enough to step into the NHL right away and maybe put up 50 points on the year, plus the fact that Francesco Aquilini is so money hungry that he wants to go out there and capitalize on every dollar that's capable to be earned. A guy like Connor Bedard puts butts into seats, and he wouldn't be all too shabby at the NHL level either, so he's automatically going to make the team. But if he's on the team, you can't be having this guy playing fourth-line center minutes. You absolutely can't. And at the same time, you're not going to go out there and have one of Petey, Miller, or Bo playing on the fourth line. That's just not really going to cut it there. So all of a sudden, it makes it so that one of Bo or Miller is going to have to go. Whether that's Bo who leaves in free agency, Bo who gets traded at the deadline, maybe it's Miller who gets traded sometime in the next few weeks here, there is an opportunity for an out. Because the Vancouver Canucks will have a generational talent at their disposal who could make an immediate impact in the National Hockey League, and he's only going to be on his entry-level deal. Sure, he's going to have to get a payday in 3 years, in 2020, whenever the heck it's going to be, 2026? I don't know if I did the calculations right, but there is going to be flexibility on the center core. Now, I don't know what the heck is going to happen when it comes to the Canucks trying to trade away one of these guys, a Miller or Bo, because we had already heard from Jim Rutherford that they tried to upgrade the defense in the summer. They weren't able to. They tried to explore the market to see what options were available in a Miller trade, and nothing was acceptable to the point that they were actually willing to make that trade. So at the same time, I am sort of starting to doubt the current Canucks management and their ability to make trades, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll give them a few more years before we throw them out like we did Jim Benning. But either way, Connor Bedard coming over to Vancouver makes things a lot more flexible. Thirdly, what a Connor Bedard-like player does is it makes the center core actually a lot more diverse as well, because he is a right-handed center. Everybody else that is of value on this team on the center, Petey, Miller, and Bo, they're all left-handed. So this is honestly like a really underrated point. It allows the team to have more flexibility on face-offs on the left and the right, because you could just swap out whichever centers are there, especially if you're line matching other teams on home ice. And plus, you know, just having a guy like Connor Bedard who is so talented at everything he's capable of doing, skating, shooting, passing, playmaking, all this crap that he's done, it's so good. And there isn't really anybody else here in Vancouver that I think can bring more of, let's just say, a shift in attitude amongst the fans and amongst the media than a guy like Connor Bedard would be able to do. I get it, if the Canucks finish last in the NHL, which, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to say definitively with all my heart they are going to, but let's say they do. The worst they can do is third overall, I believe. The NHL draft lottery rules have changed. There are no longer 3 lotteries done for the first, second, and third overall picks, meaning that if you're last in the NHL, the worst you could do is 4th. I believe now, if you're last, the worst you can do is 3rd. And if the Canucks draft in the top 3, they're getting one of Bedard, Michkov, or Fantilli. Fantilli, by the way, we made a video about him just a few days ago, talking about how he's at 2 points a game in the NCAA as an 18-year-old who is in his draft-eligible season. It's crazy. As for Matvei Michkov, I get that he's got an incredible ceiling as well, and playing with a guy like Pettersson, he would absolutely dominate the NHL if he pans out to his potential. But Connor Bedard could give this Vancouver Canucks team the opportunity to have such a two-headed monster on center. Pettersson and Bedard. Oh my goodness. You know, in the video that we made 5 years ago talking about Rasmus Dahlin, I had said that, hey, in 5 years, are the Vancouver Canucks going to have a top forward in the league? Yeah, they're going to have 2. They're going to have Petey and they're going to have Besser. unfortunately for all of us, Besser has not really developed on that same track that we thought he would be back in 2017 because of injuries and very unfortunate life stuff with his family. So obviously, we think that Besser has a better ceiling than what he's shown off so far. It's just back in 2017, we thought that he was going to be a lot better. The team needed a number one defender at the time because I said that the best prospect in the system was Olio Levy, and he sucks. He's not even with the team anymore. Good thing the Canucks got Quinn Hughes in the 2018 draft because things would have been absolutely abysmal had they not gone their way. And then, of course, in that same Dahlin video, we said that Demko would probably be the starter for the team long-term, and he looks to be pretty promising. And yeah, I know he hasn't been great this season, but he has been pretty promising, all things considered. So hopefully in 5 years, we don't need to make another one of these videos talking about, hey, what if the Canucks draft the first overall projected guy in 2028? Because they still suck. Because back when we made the video about Dahlin, I didn't think they'd be this bad in 2022, 2023. But talk to me in the comments either way all your thoughts about the Canucks drafting Connor Bedard first overall. Do you think it's going to happen? They're currently in the best position to do so. Let me know what you think about this discussion and more. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99. And bye.